This conference will now be recorded.
Thanks for everybody logging in at 10 a.m. Today. Really appreciate the interest in the Urbano Visio pipe design product by Studio ARS. I'm Jeff Lyons, the Platform Innovation Manager at Builterra. So we're going to sort of do a joint presentation and let Mihael from Studio ARS do the initial presentation around the pipe design product. And then I'll probably come into it near the end and show you how Builterra works and how to do some quick cost estimating with the pipe design system. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and chat, use the chat window. I've got everybody muted. So we can, at the very end of the presentation, we'll do a 10-minute question and answer if you have any questions at that time. So with that, what I'll do is I'll give Mihael the presentation ability here, and then he can start his presentation. So let me just look him up. We're finally getting some late arrivals here, which is good news. So let me just grab Mihael. Okay, and make the presenter. There we go. Oh. There we go. So there's Mihael, and he's unmuted now, so we can go ahead and hear.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. My name is Mihael Vaic from the company Studio ARS, and I'll do a short presentation of our product Urbano Visio for Civil 3D pipe design. So, well, no need to go through the agenda, but in effect, I will show you how you can better organize your data about pipes and structures in Civil 3D, and then some smart editing and analysis tools and profile editing tools and trench volume calculations, and then at the end export to Navisworks and Builterra. So there's lots more tools, but I will just focus on a few. So about our company, so we were founded a long time ago in Croatia and Europe, and we do have our own development team with civil and mechanical and software engineers, and we develop all our software in-house. We have a very narrow focus, if you will. So we focus on pipe infrastructure, so mostly on storm sanitary sewage, and water, but also on gas and vacuum sewage. And we have most of our users are in Europe, but also in North America and around the world. And okay, some big companies, some big municipal companies, and many small companies, of course, and users. About our development, so we develop different products for different platforms. So today I'll be showing you Urbano Visio for Civil 3D. So that's a product for gravitational pipe design with Civil 3D. So it works with Civil 3D functions on Civil 3D objects, and it produces a design that is Civil 3D. Okay. We also have other products, as I mentioned, for water and also for sewage on AutoCAD. And we also do some development on Navisworks with the Urbano document linker. Okay, so about Urbano Visio. So it's an add-in for Civil 3D. You can use it from 2015 to 2020. So we just released the new version for 2020. I don't know, maybe 10 days ago. As I said, it works with Civil 3D functions. It works on Civil 3D objects. So whatever it is you see, the end result is a standard Civil 3D DWG which of course can be used by users that don't have Urbano Visio. One of the most important things, it's very simple to install. You can download it, install it, get a trial immediately. So licensing is simple, but also for bigger companies, it has been successfully used by several companies also in deployment environments. So if you have a deployment software, to deploy the software on 20, 50, 200 PCs, then Urbano Visio is good to go. Just a very quick, very brief presentation of the tools. So there are in total 12 tools with, of course, many additional functions inside of the tools. But today we'll be focusing on the tools here. So the tools to organize data, edit data, export to Excel, then some tool to manage property set data. Then we have a set of 4 tools for profile view editing, which I'll be showing, and also a simple trench volume calculation. So the other tools, which I will not be showing today, is for example, we have a tool to convert lines and polylines to an existing pipe network. So with Civil 3D, you can only ever convert to a new pipe network. You cannot add to an existing. So with this tool, you can. Then we have an inspection tool, which can be used to inspect, edit single pipes or structures. Then we have a tool to apply rules in different ways on parts of the network, on the whole network, and so on. And we also have some hydraulic calculation tools. Always the most important question, why should you care about Urbano Visio? Well, it's all about investing in your workflow, okay? So with this tool, you can save time because it will shorten some of the things you do. Simply you'll spend less time doing that. For example, changing names or parts from the part list on multiple items at once. Then, of course, it adds value. So there are some things which cannot be done with Civil 3D, or they can be done, but it's like some kind of workaround, or let's say strange set of steps that you need to follow to achieve the results. And the last thing, which is very important, it improves your data flow. So as I said, there is a bit improved option on importing, let's say maybe some old data from some old designs, and there is also an option to make better exports to Navisworks or IFC or Builterra. And of course, you can get a free trial. The app is on the App Store or Autodesk. So quickly, if we just go on the App Store, you go to Civil 3D, and then you go to Pipe Network. Here it is, and here you can find Urbano Visio trial, and you can download it immediately. Okay, and let's get started with the actual live presentation. So let me just move this away. Okay, so this is a standard, let's say a typical Civil 3D design, and the first thing is how we started. I don't know if you know about this Pipe Vista, Structure Vista tools from Civil 3D. Here you can get a table with lots of data about your about your design. So essentially, more or less, it's all the numbers associated with your design. And this is how our idea started to do some development, because well, this built-in standard view is let's say not the best. You can do a few things, but you can't do editing, and there is really no connection to the drawing. So I can click on anything here, nothing highlights, nothing happens. I can zoom in, but that's that's about the best that can be done. So we started developing our tool, and we said, okay, we want to do it better. We want to do it, so that's really it really gives some value to the designer. And I will show you exactly what we did. So first of all, with Urbano Visio, you can actually select, you can build your own data groups. We call them configurations. You give them some names like tooltip or geometry or hydraulics. Same for structures. And so you select the data you want to see. And all of these configurations are stored inside of an XML file, so you can you can give it to somebody else, you can store them, and so on. And you don't have to make these selections over and over again. You make your configurations, and you can use them for different parts of your design. And making this configuration is quite simple. So if I want, for example, to make a configuration for pipes, I just click on pipes and select add, and okay, I write a name, and I can go into adding some things. And now here you have all of your data, and this is immediately a little bit of an improvement over the standard thing which Civil 3D offers, because there is really all of your data from Civil 3D is in this list. So because in Civil 3D you have almost all data in the pipe vista and structure vista, but not all, and then you have some properties and you have part lists. So there isn't really one place where you can find all of your data. But with Urbano Visio, we created this place, okay? And once I build my test configuration, I can immediately use it, okay? So I just created my little group with 5 different data which are interesting to me, and immediately I can start to use it. And as you can see, there is no limit to how many configurations you have. You can have as many configurations as you want. Okay. The second important thing is, as I said, with the pipe vistas, it's not really responsive. So here you have much better response, because immediately when you click on something, it gets highlighted. And of course, I can also zoom in and see it directly. So and I can select all and do all of this kind of stuff. So also with selections, we are not limited to just the simple clicking, picking. That's we have made a list of choices. So of course the default choice is select all. Another option is to use a standard CAD selection, and you see which elements you are looking at in the table. You can select individual pipes, so I can go like this and just select these 4 pipes. Okay, you can select individual structures. So, you know, I can just select any structures I want, and I can see the data. You can also select branches. So these branches go from start or beginning to you know, to like an intersection where there's more different pipes intersecting in one structure. So, for example, I can select this branch, or I can, you know, select multiple branches all at once. Then you can also select a sequence. So I can, you know, just do something like this, or you know, something very simple, just like a straight line, something like this. I can select data from a profile. So if I go over here, you see the profiles automatically highlight. And I just click on one profile, and all of the information in this profile is selected. And you can also see that when I highlight things in the table, they get highlighted in the plan view and also in the profile view. Okay, so essentially it works for both. And I can also use the element sequence to select the sequence of pipes or structures from the profile. So you can use it, as I said, with the plan view, with the profile view, whatever works best for you. Okay, and why all this is useful, I will be showing you in a minute. So what can you do with you know, this? Okay, you have data, you see it immediately in the drawing, so that's nice. So let's actually do something with this. Okay, so let me zoom in here into this part, and I will select this branch. And in this branch, I will just select some structures and go to Edit Value. And I can very, very quickly rename structures, okay, on bulk. So in this case, I will just use a simple, you know, a name and a counter. So I can see on the left side the old name and the new name. And as soon as I press OK, you can see also by the labels that the structure names have changed, and also in this table they also changed. So, for example, that's one thing you can do. A second thing you can do, again, you can select something, go to Edit Value, and then you just select a different structure. Okay, so this is my part list. It's quite small, and this is my Civil 3D part list. Okay, so on your computer it will look different. It will display your part list, and immediately this changes. And also one thing we can do, we can of course also work on profiles, as I said, and for example the sump depth. I can change it. For example, I can say I want my sump depth to be 0. And you see also, okay, it changed in the table, but you can see also in this graphical view that, you know, the drawing immediately refreshed. And this is what I said. This is what I said in the beginning. So we are using only exclusively Civil 3D functions, Civil 3D objects. So it's as if it was a part of Civil 3D. And this is why, of course, everything is refreshed automatically, like you're used to in Civil 3D. Okay, it's essentially the same thing with pipes. So if I want to change names, there's an interesting thing also that I can do with names. So I can actually name my pipes according to the structures. So you can see now the pipe is named according to the structure. So that's one thing we can do, and of course I can do it for the whole branch or for the whole network and so on, and also just like with the structures, if I want to change the diameter of my pipes, for example, I just select the pipes I want to change, and it immediately shows me my part list, and I just select a different value, and that's it. There you go. It's immediately changed everything. Okay. So it's quite simple, and of course there are many more uses. So I just very quickly show you a few. So the important thing to remember is if the column is grayed out, it means it's something that Civil 3D calculates or determines in a different manner. So this is something that cannot be changed. But every column that is white, it means you as a user can change it. So essentially, for example, the best example is the length. So you can't just simply type in a new length. You have to move the pipe, extend it. So you have to do it graphically. You cannot do it numerically. So Civil 3D doesn't allow this. So that's why it's grayed out. But you can look at it. It's no issue. Okay, so moving on, I want to show you also something that we did with property set data. So I don't know how many people of you do you use property data, do you know about it? So it's a relatively new data type. It's been present for about 2-3 years, and it's very nice. It's very flexible. You can do various stuff with it, and we do various stuff with it. So the hydraulic calculation and the trench volume calculation depend on it, but we can also use it for different things. So I have added just a few, text text type data, like status tree type, things like this. You can add to your drawing, and if I go to my test configuration, and I can go to edit, my configuration, and down below there I have my property set data. I can just bring everything over, and so there it goes, and press OK. So immediately they appear here in this table, which is interesting. So I just go back to select all, and for example, I can now sort on status, and I can go and say, okay, show me this, show me where is this pipe with status good, or show find all of the different pipes with this status, or of course I can for example select this branch, and then I can go and say, okay, actually these first 5 pipes, they are not good. So we had a survey, and actually they are in bad condition. So I need to change their status. And so it's just like this, very, very simple to do with Urbano Visio. So you can again make bulk edits of property set data. Okay, one thing that you also can make is you can draw tables. Okay, so this is now an AutoCAD. This is now an AutoCAD table. So you if you start to edit something, immediately, the AutoCAD table design tools pop up. So you can add columns, you can add formulas if you want, and so on. Do all of these things. But of course, there is they display, this table displays everything that can be displayed in this table down here. So any configuration. In this case, there's a mix between Civil 3D data and property set data. And again, if, for example, our people went outside, they fixed the problems, and I want to say, no, I want to return to good status, I can do this. And as you can see, this table also immediately refreshes and shows the new status, and you can see it also in the labels. So again, everything is refreshed immediately, just like you're used to with Civil 3D. And so the last part for this presentation, I will just very quickly show you some filters. So just to open the interface, so you can build filters, data filters on any condition for your Civil 3D data, including property set data and object map data and so on. So I have pre-made a few very simple filters. And when I click to activate this filter, so I'm searching for all the pipes with the status bad. So currently I can't find any. So but if I go to say I'm searching for pipes, only for pipes with status that is not bad, so I find all of those. And also, for example, you can set a filter. I made a third filter where the status is not set. Okay, so now I'm getting all of the pipes which are not set, and you can again select everything, and you see immediately where are those pipes. So this can be quite handy if you are filling in some data, doing some editing, and you have to do some stuff. Okay, so let's move on to the next tool. And of course, if you have any questions, please just write them in the chat, and we will try to respond, in the end, or if it's not possible, then by email or something. Okay, so we have a whole set of tools for editing profiles. So there are specific tools, so just for profiles, unlike this first tool which I showed you, which is used with everything. So this is a very simple tool. It allows you to draw parallel lines, so lines parallel to the terrain line in your profiles, and you have a few options. So, for example, you can draw it as part of the profile, or you can draw it as simple AutoCAD lines or polylines. So, for example, in this case, okay, I'll draw a polyline, and I'll select this profile, and immediately this polyline is drawn, and I can also, go to the next profile, and here to the next profile, for example, and so everything is drawn on 2 meters depth. So again, you can input the depth as you like, and of course you can have multiple terrain lines and so on. If you made a mistake, you need to clear it. It's quite simple. You just can clear it like this. If you have a more complex situation with two terrains, then, for example, you just need to select the appropriate terrain. Okay, now I'm getting the green one, and for example, now I can switch the color to red, for example, and again go to the same profile but to a different terrain line, and now I get, you know, two terrain lines, you know, each on a 2-meter offset to the terrain. If you have something like this, for example, just to show you, if you draw it as part of the profile, then you just then it's let's say simpler. You don't select the color. It draws immediately. Okay, and of course the difference is if you then move the profile, if it's and you draw this terrain line with as part of the profile, it will move with it. And if you just draw a simple polyline, then you know it will stay in place. It will not move. But then you can clean up your, you know, refresh your drawing, and it will you know, regenerate. So it's not a big difference, but you know, there's options. So that's important. Okay, so moving on to the next tool. Again, we are in the profile editing section. So we created a very simple tool to draw pipe inverts. Okay, so you just go to a profile and you just, you know, start drawing. Okay, do something like this, whatever you want, no matter how stupid, like I just did, and you can just simply draw it, and it's done. Okay, there are some additional perks if you want. So I can while I'm drawing, I can show some auxiliary lines. So I selected to show lines between 1 meter and 3 meters of depth. So for example, I can now say, okay, this is you know, too shallow. You know, I need to do it a little bit differently, for example, like this, and get a better solution. There is also visual guides. So for example, you can go in steps, so to speak. So, you know, I can, for example, start here. And when I go to the next structure, please take a look at the tooltip, because the tooltip now moves in steps of 0.25%, okay? Because this is what I set up. And so this way you can, you know, draw more exactly, so to speak. But of course, there's also another way, and this is, okay, you start drawing, and then you have this option. So it will, you know, you can set the pipe depth directly. You can say, okay, I want, okay, 3 meters is too much, for example, 2.5, okay, and you can, and it also recalculates your slope, or you can say, no, I want a slope of exactly 2%, so you get a depth that's recalculated, okay, and you go like this. And if you now want to make a drop structure, again, there is a little, you know, window opens showing all different values, and you can say, okay, I want a drop of 1 meter, for example, okay, and it shows you what this is, and then you can say, okay, that's too much. Let's do 0.5, okay, and you know, and you can continue drawing like this and create a solution. So it's a freehand drawing tool. Okay, you do your pipe profile views like standard, and then you can change them. We also have an option to edit. So that's a little bit different. So if you don't want to draw, you can just simply edit. The program will show you you know, how this looks like. Okay, and you can just click apply, and you get a nice straight line across all of these pipes. You can, of course, do it differently. Okay, so there's you know, picking device, so you can pick it like this, or you can say no, I want it exactly 2 meters below the surface, so you can, you know, input numbers. And you see this part here, so you can select to change adjacent sections or no. For example, I can choose not to change them, and again, as soon as you hit apply, it's done. And one interesting option, for example, is also to say add a drop to all structures. So like you want to have a uniform drop, you know, on each structure you want to drop for the same amount. And so you can go like this, and then you can say, okay, I want to drop, I don't know, 20 centimeters on each structure. Okay, that's maybe too small, so maybe we can do 30 centimeters. And you see this lower, you get essentially two results. One result is if you would not use any drops, and the second if you use the drops like I just showed you. And once you click apply, there you go. That's so easy so simple to get. So and there's some additional options, but we'll skip that for today. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is, so we're still in with the profile views, and we have this last tool is just for structures. So the first thing you can do is just move your structures around directly in the profile view. Okay, so it's very simple to do. And the next thing is inserting new structures. Okay, so again, quite simple. So you just pick the place you want and you can insert them. If we go to this view, you can see the structures were inserted with, you know, with all the vertices you need and everything, the alignment, everything is, you know, refreshed automatically. You don't have to, you know, don't need to take care about this. Okay, it's all done automatically. And so why is all of this interesting? Well, for example, consider this very steep part. So if I add 2 more structures on this part, and then I go into drawing, and I can, for example, you know, start drawing like this, and do something like this, and of course now this is a drawing with the trench that is much smaller. Okay, so it's cheaper to build, and of course that's what we all want in the end. Okay, so moving on to the next part, I would like to show you very quickly something about our trench calculation. So just before I start, so what do we think? What are we thinking? Okay, so this is, let's say, how a trench looks like. Actually, it's composed of you know, different parts. So there's bedding, there's pipe, there's filling areas, and then we divide this trench into sections. So every time the the terrain changes, we make an imaginary section if you want. So you cannot see it in the drawing, but we make it in the background. And so in this case, in this simple case, sections would, let's say, look something like this. And then we also have the possibility to use zones. So you can say, okay, I don't know, zone 1 is soft ground, and zone 2 is hard ground. So it's, you know, different costs, different options when you need to actually dig it. Okay, So this is what we mean by trench. And okay, we have made here a little table with all the values we are using in our calculation. So again, as I said in the beginning, we make quite the use of the property set data. All of these volumes, excavation volume, sand bed volume, sand fill volume, and so on, we store all of this information into property set data, which we create on the fly. Again, you don't need to do anything. Just showing you so you know that it's inside. Okay. And this is why I'm able to create this table configuration to look at this data, and you can clearly see it's everything is zero, it's not defined, we haven't done anything. So I'll just jump in to the trench calculation and show you very quickly how you can make a new trench. So you decide, so this is just a picture, the sides don't have to have this kind of slope, it can be 90 degrees, so a straight slope. And you also determine the width, is it a fixed width or is it calculated from the diameter of pipe with a left and right offset. And then you choose the sand bed and the thickness of the sand bed, and the pipe angle is how the pipe is laying on the sand bed. So this is, let's say, a case where the pipe would be laying in a sand bed, a little bit covered. If you want it covered halfway, you would say 180 degrees. If you want it covered all the way, you would say 360 degrees. Okay, so again, you have several options. And also the sand fill is, of course, on top of the pipe, how much volume will you get. Okay, when we go to the calculation, again, you have this list with all of these different configurations. So you choose any, for example, this one I created just now. You choose your network, your surface, how you want to export, Excel or text file. Again, the zones, you can set up your zones or ignore it if you don't want. And you create a report. So I don't have a concrete bed, so I don't need this. You create a report, then you select the data. Again, you can select just one branch or several pipes or something. In this case, I'll just select everything to be quick, and just run it and save the report and open the report. And there you go. So this is essentially, it goes, from pipe to pipe, and it gets you all of your volumes. Okay, so it tells you the starting station and ending station, the total excavation volume, the cumulative volume, and so on. And this is done by branch. And when we scroll all the way down, you have the total for the whole network. And also, we have a total breakdown for the pipes. So on each pipe diameter, you have a total length of this type of pipe. And of course, if I go now to my table view configuration of data, now you can see everything is filled. So if for example, if I just select one branch, you can take a look at the information for this branch. Okay, just very quickly to show you also about exporting data. So for the IFC. So we have here something called the property set data manager, and it has all of our different groups. So what is the problem? When you create an IFC, so this is something you cannot do with Civil 3D. You cannot select the data that will go with Civil 3D. So and that's kind of an issue, because you get the the network, the solids, but you don't have any data attached to it, or you have data but you cannot select what to export and what not to export. So you have a whole lot of useless data. So this, of course, we wanted to improve. So, and you can improve it with property set data. And in this, with this option, we can actually copy your standard Civil 3D data to property set data, so that when you make an IFC export, it will go with the IFC and can be used in a BIM process. Okay. So we create a new group. We can call it my pipe group. And okay, so it's for structures and for the network storm, and you can select some data. And now again, you have all of the data available to Civil 3D. So you just go inside and select some information that you want to have stored in the IFC file. So I don't know, for example, slope and for example, inner diameter. Okay, so let's say this is data you want, and you need to write it, for the storm network and for the sanitary network. And then you need to move over to the structures and create a new group and say my structure group. Okay, and again, you create the data you want to have in your IFC file. So again, you choose some information that's important to you. So for example, diameter, and one more, we can have height, for example. Okay, and again, you would say write this structure data for the sanitary network and for the storm network. And what you do next is you just proceed with your standard IFC export. Okay, and once you export it, you of course have to attach it in, for example, in Navisworks or whatever software you're using, and you will get 2 additional tabs. So for the data and for the structures, for the pipes and for the structures, and when you click when you click on the pipes, you can see the data that I just exported. And it's similar for the structures. You get, in this case, name, diameter, height, things like this. Of course, you choose which data you want to export. Okay, so it's up to you, essentially, of course. Okay, and the last thing I want to show you, and very quickly, and then give back control to Jeff, is how we can connect to Builterra or some other software. So one thing we can do with this first tool that I showed you also is export this data table to an Excel file. And in the case of Builterra, we will want maybe some additional information. So for example, one thing that Jeff asked me was the street names. So for example, let's say that this is one street, and then you can say this is Cherry Street, and you can quickly give it a name, and then you can go to the next street, and again, you know, select the column and go to editing, and you say this is Rose Street. Okay, and if you got labels, you can immediately see also if you did something or not. So that's one thing. A second thing which also Jeff asked me for was something called average pipe depth. And I don't know if you know, and I don't know how many of you are using label expressions, but in Civil 3D, you have the option basically to calculate any formula if you want. So in this case, I created a very simple formula, you know, start cover and plus end cover and divide by 2, and you know, this sort of gets you an average. We can, in Urbano Visio, we can use these label expressions also inside of our tables. So I only need to go here and find it in the expressions part, move it over, and there you go. Immediately it will show in my table view, and and this can be done for any expression. So the problem with so to speak, with expressions is in Civil 3D, you can just use them in labels, but with Urbano Visio you can use them in these tables. Then you can create a CAD table. You can export everything to Excel. So I just make a copy. I just make a copy and I start Excel, and I just paste inside, and okay, so this is the information I had in my table. So this is just one branch. If I want to, you know, select everything, I can select everything. Just again, select all and make a copy, and you know, go here and just paste, and this is my whole pipe network. Okay, and on this note, I would like to give over to Jeff. So Jeff, can you?
Yeah, I can hear you. First of all, I'm really blown away by this software. It's the first time I've seen the demo fully, so I really appreciate that. Let me take over here. Okay. We only have a few minutes left, so for those who are not familiar with Builterra, basically we're sort of the what happens after you do all of this design, right? So just to show you what that's about is when you do your design here in Civil 3D, the concept now is it goes into full contract administration, and that includes bid preparation and cost estimating, which I'll show you in 2 minutes here. Full bidding and full bidding system for private projects or connection with eSolutions Group here in Ontario for public bidding. The mobile app itself, again, connected directly to the web portal for all of your inspection. This is then connected to the awarded bids. So everything that was shown in the design can move now throughout the system through to end of construction. So this is why Builterra is getting quite a bit of action right now, is because we're one of the only products that does, you know, pure civil engineering infrastructure contract administration right from start to finish. And so this is the process that we're talking about. So if you guys do this process, I know you're maybe in the design group way back here, but believe it or not, there's an entire process of action that happens right through to the payment certificate. So that's where we come in, and luckily I'm from the design part of the world, so I understand that part of it, and that's why I really love this Urbano Visio product. I'll just go right to the demo itself, because we really don't have time to go through some of the ins and outs of the product, but basically it's a web portal, 100% on Microsoft Azure, so there's no IT requirement whatsoever. When you log in and create your own account, you can, go in. These are all of your projects online. And so if we take a look at the road recon, it's something I set up this morning. So this is a typical project map here. And if I want to go ahead and create a quick cost estimate for the project that Mihael just created, then I simply pick tender. If you're in the US, it's called the bid. Here in Canada, it's tenders. You can go to inspections, but tenders where we want to go today. So for this particular sample or this demo, we can go ahead and create the tenders. This is an open container that contains all of the items that we might want to add to this road reconstruction project. So you can select multiple templates. So these templates are very similar to what we saw in Urbano Visio, the same concept of creating prefab tables with properties, and it creates then a full schedule unit prices that's blank. In other words, very similar to the concept they use with Excel, but now it's on the web, and all of these are standardized items, just like a parts list in Civil 3D. So because I use Civil 3D for most of my career, the Builterra product is actually fashioned very similar to Civil 3D parts lists. When I go ahead and edit the sections, then you can go ahead and start adding things. So this is more than just pipe estimating. You can pick site preparation, and you get various things. So you can very easily just drag and drop. You don't have to import it from CAD. And as soon as you select cost estimate, you'll get all of the estimating averages here based on previous project work. So if you actually just go through the exercise of adding all of this information to your schedule unit prices, this is the template I'm using here, then you'll get an estimate by the time you're finished dragging and dropping. So if you were to just go ahead and drag a single manhole, then and then put in a depth, because we do use the depth for our estimating in this particular case, we should get an estimate for one single manhole. But of course that would take too long, because we just looked at an amazing product that does pipe design. So let's simply go to the import here. So CSV import, Mihael showed you how to get it into Excel or CSV file super quick. And using those templates, I've also created an import template that matches the same template concept in Urbano Visio. So when I go to import, I've simply hooked up my own template called CSV import, and then I can go and import the structures here. So I just go to my desktop, and so this is the manhole structures. So these are the CSV files that I created from Urbano Visio. So when I go ahead and import, it pulls all the information in from the text file and prompts the user to pick what they want. When you import it, we don't run the estimating immediately, because you could be importing 400 or 500 pipes, and that could take a couple of minutes to do the estimate. So the concept is it imports direct. We can just simply hit reset, and what that does is it will go through every single item, and in this case the cost estimate is looking at the depth of the object and the diameter of it. So we're using you can configure your own criteria for cost estimating. So all of the estimate is done, and based on the design, it's $180,000 for just the storm manholes. Same idea with pipes. We're getting the start and end manholes, the length, everything we need for the project. So again, we'll pick the template that I've pre-created, and we'll grab the pipes and import it. So very similar. So you can imagine if you were organized with your pipe networks and your trenching, how quickly you can do a cost estimate from the program using Builterra. So Builterra is a full bidding system. So, you know, hooking it to design systems like Urbano Visio and Civil 3D just makes the whole concept of building information modeling reality. And that's something we like to talk about, you know, that we're actually doing things to make things easier for Civil 3D users. So this is the concept here, the trench materials. Again, I simply exported the volumes to a CSV file, and I just love the way that they can do that so easy with Urbano Visio. So bringing in these volumes, in this case, I've just pulled out the various material quantities and then made a separate table for that. So we don't necessarily know the item code or the description. It's using the material type for the estimating. So we have an autofill function that will reverse lookup based on the material type, what the item code is. And when you do an estimate, same idea, it does a quick estimate. So like we were saying, the zone 2 could be more expensive, could be a shale or something. So you're seeing a difference there. So overall, everything goes to Excel. Love Excel. You can with or without pricing. Your bidders can then put in their prices. In other words, the construction companies you deal with can use a simple, they think you're very organized with Excel, but the concept here is that you're literally skimming prices back from the bidders and adding it back to Builterra. So this Excel would be provided to the bidder, and then the estimating system grows over time with all the bid data coming in. So when you take all that data, you can go ahead and award it to the bidder, and pretty much the project is ready for the field. So if you have any questions about Builterra or Urbano Visio, we've got a couple of minutes here. We're a little over time, but I can open up the floor if you have any questions or you want to hit the chat window. We're open to any questions whatsoever. So we'll just advance my slides here. Okay, there we go. And we'll get to the closing slide. Okay. Any questions for anybody? Well, if not, contact me directly through email or Mihael directly, and we can quote you on the products. It's a subscription product for both, and I'll be happy to talk to you offline about any of the technical or give you a quote or anything you need for the product. So thanks for joining us. Really informative, and hopefully we'll hear from you soon. Thank you very much.